All right, so this is the last lecture. So I'm going to cover how to collect data through questionnaire. This topic is very important for you because last few classes that we have gone through how to collect the data through interview, how to collect the data through observation, right? So most of you are going to actually collect the data through questionnaire. Then the question may arise that whether you need to prepare the questionnaire for your research proposal or not. So this is optional. All right, this is not mandatory. You can go for preparing the draft questionnaire and attach it with your proposal. Because when you will be preparing the proposal and you will continue with this proposal for your final project paper or your final research project, then that time may be when your questionnaire will already be there, right? The draft one, you can directly show it to your supervisor, and if your supervisor is okay and you get the green signal, and just go for starting the data collection. So it will be easier for you, and even if you give me the questionnaire, the draft one, I will be having a look and will give my comments on that. So again, I'm telling you, this is optional, but you need to have the idea how to prepare the questionnaire, right, for survey. Okay, first of all, what you need to do, need to follow some basic steps of preparing the questionnaire. But what is questionnaire, right? So questionnaire will be, questionnaire means there will be lots of questions, right? But if we go for defining it, it's a pre-formulated set of questions which you will be providing to your respondent, right? And respondent will be giving their answer on your questionnaire, and you are going to record all your respondents' responses, right? So this is called questionnaire. So it's a pre-formulated set of questions through which you are going to get the information from your respondents, right? And you are going to record their answers so that you will be able to what, measure your variables, as well as you can test your conceptual model. So that's the main idea of this questionnaire, right? So questionnaire, already you know what is that. Then when you will be trying to come up with the survey questionnaire, what you need to follow? There are some basic steps what you need to follow to prepare it. First of all, the first step, right? Determine the content of the questionnaire. What will be the content, right? So what information you should put in your questionnaire and what answers you are going to get from your respondents. So first, content of the questionnaire, then the format of the responses, right? Then you need to also take care of what will be the wording of your questionnaire or your questions. Then determine the question sequence, and lastly, you need to write a cover letter. Okay, first, when you will be following this first step, right, what will be the content of your questionnaire? You need to refer to your conceptual model. I believe already 3 weeks gone, right? 2 weeks, last class was like on 16. So already more than 2 weeks. And I believe that you already have your conceptual model as well as your hypothesis. So when you will be starting developing your questionnaire, you need to first step refer to your conceptual model. So your conceptual model, when you will be referring, already you will be knowing actually what information I need to have or what questions I need to have in my questionnaire or my survey questionnaire, right? So you just go for referring to your, suppose this one is your, where is my, hold on, huh? Suppose this one is your conceptual model. I just refer it to it. So this is my conceptual model. So when I will be looking into it, so I already know what are my variables, right? So my variable is this one, my independent variable. My dependent variable is there. My mediator is here. My moderator is also here. So I need to make sure that in my questionnaire, for each of these construct or variables, informations or questions are there related to these variables, questionnaires or questions are there in my survey questionnaire. So some people, what they do some mistake, not do some, means do the mistake of this dependent variable. Independent variable, they prepare the questionnaire. For mediator, they prepare the questionnaire. Moderator, they prepare the questionnaire. But the main variable, sometimes they think, okay, I don't need to have the questionnaire. But if you don't have the questionnaire to measure it, right, so then how you are going to measure the relationship of this variable? So you also need to have questions for your dependent variable as well. So this is a very common mistake that most of the students, they prepare only the questions for independent and mediator, but dependent variable they forget to, or they don't understand that also you need to have the questions for this dependent variable. So if you refer to your conceptual model, so already you will be knowing that what will be the content of your questionnaire. Okay, this is first step. Then again, if I refer to this lecture slide, okay, so then measurement or operationalization of variable means what? Measurement means you need to operationalize your variables, means you need to measure each of your variable, right? Asking some questions for each of these variable. So this is called operationalization of variable. How to measure the variable means you need to measure each of your variables so that you can actually test the relationship of these two variables, right? So what you need to do, when you will be measuring each of the variables, this will be calling at is we actually call it as operationalization of variable. Is it making sense? Is it making sense what I'm saying?
Okay, problem.
Okay, so if not, you just you just raise your hand, or you can just unmute and you can ask me question, because actually I got cold, so what I'm saying is actually echoing from my this side. So that's why I'm a bit like uh, were confused whether you are understanding me or not. Okay, so this is so for each of the variable, is for each variable, you need to have question to measure it, right? Which is called as operationalization of variable. I'm repeating things so that I'm making sure that you people are understanding. So then I go to the next one, that when we are actually going for measuring the variables, there are two types of variable construct, then factor. This is same term actually. You can call it as variable, you can call it as factor, you can call it as construct, you can call it as domain, and so many terms we actually use. So don't get confused. This objective construct and subjective construct means objective variable or subjective variable. What are those things, right? Objective construct or variables are those which we can measure using only one question. We can measure those variables only using one question. Those variable will be called as objective construct. For example, suppose if I go for asking the question like this way, suppose this one, right? Generational cohort. So I can just go for asking one question. You are under which generational cohort? Traditionalist, swing, or gen? Means I'm only asking one question, and with one question or using only that question, also we call it as item. Same thing. So if we go for asking one question, we can automatically be able to what? Measure or understand that particular person is under which group. Or for example, another example I give you. Hold on. Suppose this one. Suppose I'd like to measure your what is that one? Gender, right? I would like to know your gender. So what is your gender? So I just go for asking one question. So you just go for ticking male or female. So you indicate your marital status. Only one question I'm asking, right? Whether you are single, married, or divorced, or others, right? So you just go for ticking your answer. So those variables which we can measure using only one item or only one question, those variables will be called as what? Objective construct, right? Then what is subjective construct? In order to measure those variables, we will be needing actually more than one question. So that time those variables will be called as subjective construct or subjective variable. So in order to measure those variables, when we will be in need for using multiple items or questions, so that will be called as subjective construct. Making sense or not? Suppose, for example, if I refer to my this conceptual model, right? So suppose this religiosity, this buying behavior, this purchase intention, suppose this purchase intention, right? If I would like to measure, I need to have minimum 5 questions. Suppose, for example, so in order to look, measure this purchase intention, right? Refer to where? Refer to this conceptual model, this dependent variable. So I need to have minimum 5 questions. So more than one question, but I'll come actually how many minimum questions you need for your variable to measure it. So suppose, look, for purchase intention, I'm having like 5 items here to. So this variable, this purchase intention, this will be called as subjective. Students, can you make sure that your mic is mute? Any question? Any question? Can you check whose mic is off mute? Other students can help me.
Okay.
Nasrul, mute your mic. Nasrul.
All right, I think he did it. Okay, thank you so much for helping me. Okay, so suppose now purchase intention. So this independent, dependent, and mediator, we can just go for using multiple questions to measure it. But mostly for demographic variables, we usually use one question or one single item to measure it. So that time those variables will be called as objective construct. Is it making sense? Suppose, for example, again, if I go for referring to this conceptual model, hold on, huh? So suppose this attitude, right? So attitude, how I'm going to measure it? So I'm going to have like this one, this attitude, right? So look how based on these 5 items, right? 5 questions, I'm going to measure it. So more than means the one question with multiple questions, I'm going to measure it. So this will be called as what? Subjective variable. Yes or no? Making sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So then, yes. So like for religiosity, also I have like 5 domains. So like, but even it is like having subdomains, but for each domain, so it will be like 5 questions. So this is just giving you. Make sure those mic is not mute. You are muting it. Thank you. Okay, dear Prof, how to identify a subjective and objective construct? That I just mentioned that usually for the demographic variables, right? So you don't need to like have like more than one question to justify it or to measure it. So mainly in most of the cases, demographic variables, we measure it based on one question. So that will be your objective construct. Who asked me this question so that I can go there. All right. Hold on. Where is that? Sorry. Where? Okay. Eldrina, is it making sense now? So for your objective construct, mainly we means like consider it all those demographic variables. So this is the case. Okay, and also what's the nature of your variable? So it depends on that, how many questions you need for that particular variable. Okay, now I move to the second step. No, before I go for, yes, going to the second step. All right. So the second step is response format. So I'm on that, right? So determine of the content of the questionnaire already done. You just need to refer to your conceptual model, and based on your variables that you have used for your conceptual model, so you will be knowing that what will be the content of my questionnaire. Then I go to the second step, that one, that determine the form of responses. So look, come to the response format. So your response format can be either close-ended or it can be open-ended. So most of the cases we are actually using close-ended questions. So why close-ended question? Close question, it will be helping us to collect the data easily, and it will also make the respondent's life easier, right? So respondent can quickly uh, pick their answer, and they can just go for giving their what is that one, what they think about, right? So they can quickly make the decision what will be their answer if we use the close-ended question. And also it will help us, the researcher, to code those information easily instead in what is that one, in Excel sheet or in SPSS sheet. So later on you will understand it when you will be collecting the data, and how you need to is like move all those data from your questions to the Excel sheet to do the analysis. So it will help us to make our life easier to code all those items to run those for the analysis part. So then go for open-ended question. Usually open-ended questions will be giving you the opportunity that you can get the unbiased point of view of your respondent. Whereas if you use the close-ended question, so that time what will happen? So even if you have the like what is that one, your options of the answers, right? But your respondents have whatever options you have given, they have like other means like opinion. So that time they will not be able to give their means another point of view. So this time for the close ended it's not possible, but if you use open ended question, unbiased point of view of your respondents, you can also record it. And some means also when you will be using this open-ended question, it will also be giving you the opportunity that you can get some additional insight of your respondents. So sometimes when you usually we go for using, most of us we use close-ended question, that I already mentioned. Why? Because to make the respondents life easier, right? Because most of the time you will see that what will happen, even if you request the respondents to participate in your survey, your response rate will be very very low. Just for your information, even if you like, response rate usually will be having like less than 30% or like 30 to 40%. So suppose for example, if your sample size is 100, right? So you need to at least send 300 to 400 questionnaires, and then maybe you will be able to collect, right, 100 responses. So this is like how it works. So don't get like what is that one means, upset when you will not get is like many responses from the respondents. So because this is a practical, usually the response rate will be like 30 to 40% around. So that's why we try to make sure that we develop, or we just structure our questionnaire in such a manner so easily the respondents can answer it, and it will not take that long for them. And even sometimes we go for using the close-ended question, but sometimes we just use one or two questions which will be open-ended to get some additional insight, means some to get some extra information. Suppose for example, I give you example with my this questionnaire,
at least 37 times.
the information, right? So to measure variables, but additional information I was trying to get from those respondents, because I know from their born year, right? I can easily categorize them. Actually, that particular respondent is under which tradition, I mean, so which cohort group. But though your is like miss what your category will be under suppose your generation Y, right? Based on your born year, so I can easily categorize you that you are under Gen Y, but your characteristics may not be same as the Gen Y, right? So that's why in order to get like more information, I try to like put one more information, right? So suppose like is where somewhere so I think actually, yeah, this one is additional one. Actually, I put it to like use it for my later. So additional information using the closed question, but some open-ended question you can also put it in your questionnaire. So this is how it works.
这个妈妈把儿子强制放
Using
在台面，随着传送带的报告器，男孩离妈妈越来越近，身后这个机器的衣服变成界面。
Wong and Jiwa, please mute your mic, please.
please
Wong
mute
Shinpin,
your yes, please. Sorry.
Wong Shinpin,
Yeah,
Jiwa
I think
Guna.
it's done already. Thank you. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
this additional sorry, this open-ended question, even if you use it with your close-ended question, it can be done. It's not that if you are using the close-ended you can't use the open-ended. You can use like 2-3 questions to get some additional insight. It's okay. It's not like that you just can't do it. You can do it. Okay, then I go to the and also like yes, for some interpretation purpose also like your this open-ended question will be helping you, so it will be a complementary to your close-ended question if you go for using it as your response format. Okay, now come to the response scale. You know that when you will be getting those type of survey questions, right? So you will see that Likert scale they are using. There are like so many Likert scale from 1 to 10, means 3-point Likert scale. You will see that the researcher are actually using 5-point Likert scale they are using, 7-point they are using, 9-point they are using. So then you can ask, it means how I'm going to make sure that yes, that which particular point scale, Likert point scale you are going to use. Mostly used Likert point scale, that one is 5 to 7 points, that mostly you will see that the researchers are using. But which will be the best for you, right? Which Likert scale, whether it will be 3-point, 5-point, or 7-point Likert scale, right? So it depends on what type of data you want to gather and what survey questions you are asking. Means what survey questions, what pattern of survey questions you are having. So based on what type of data and the pattern of your survey questions, you need to decide whether you are going to give using the 5-point or 7-point Likert scale. And to justify it, right? If you are using 5-point, then you need to justify, and that justification usually you can get it from the previous studies. That time you will see that actually that particular person or that particular study, what point Likert scale they have used and why. The justification will be there, so you can use their justification to justify your one as well, to give the references, right? Okay, then I just go for using the third step. Okay, come to the questions wording. You need to be very, very careful when you will be using the word for your question. So first, you try to avoid double barrel question. This double barrel question is the one where you will be asking the question in such a manner, but you are going to get two answers. It might be having two different answers. Suppose, for example, I'm giving you.
I go to, I go and come, okay?
All right. So what is that one? Double barrel question. For example, you are going to launch a new product in the market. And before you go for doing that launching, you are going to do some survey, right? So you are asking the question in such a manner: do you think that this product has a good market and it will sell well? So what? Yes, that particular product might be having good market, right? But it might not be having good sell. So better if you go for splitting it rather than asking the question in such a manner where your answer will be true, right? So you just go for splitting it. Do you think that this product will be having a good market? One question. Then you go for asking, do you think that this product will sell well? So this way you just go for splitting it. Don't go for like combining it and asking the question and get the answer from the respondents. Making sense or not?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
bro.
Yes, bro.
Then go for avoid using the ambiguous question and word. Means don't go for asking the question or the words which will be like not clear to the respondents. For example, if you ask the respondent, to what extent you think you are happy? Means like this is very general. You need to be very specific. It can be like the respondent can think, means it's from which aspect? Is it from my personal means my personal life aspect or from my work life aspect, right? So better you just go for clarifying it. Actually means to what extent you are happy with your job life, or to what extent you are happy with your personal life, so something like that. So make sure it's very specific and clear so that you can get a very clear picture or clear information from your respondent. Okay, go for then the next one is use of ordinary word. Use those words means like in daily life we are using and people are familiar with. Don't go for using the scientific term or like technical term so that the other people who are not aware of it and they will not be able to answer it. So just go for using the ordinary word. Okay, then go for the next one, avoid leading or biasing question. Don't go for putting the question in such a manner that will bias those respondents the way you people are or you as a researcher would like to get the answer. So that leading question or biasing question you should avoid. For example, for this avoid leading or biasing question could be like what is that one? Okay, hold on. Okay, during due to this economic downturn, to to what extent you agree that our employer should increase the pay scale, right? So all people we will be like, yes, they should go for using the pay scale, right? So this is like leading or biasing question, the way that yes, you want to get the answer means yes, maybe it will help you to what increase the pay scale, right? So just go for like our leading or biasing question, you should avoid it. And then social desirability, this one will be like, for example, social desirability, right? Okay, so there are some for example, there are some advantages and disadvantages to retain the senior citizen in the workforce. To what extent you agree? So though we are thinking that yes, senior citizens should take rest, they should go for retirement and they should not be retained, right? Though in your heart you are saying means like though in your with your brain you are thinking like this way that they should get retired, right? But from your heart or like yes, maybe if I go for like they should be retired though they are capable to do the work. So you will be saying okay, the what is that, you will be like giving the option that strongly agree. So how society will be desiring the answer, so you will be thinking from that point of view and you will be bit biased to giving your answer. So based on this social desirability aspect, you also need to take care of it and do the questions or wording of your questions accordingly, and try to avoid recall dependent question. For example, like if you just ask your respondent at 30 years back when you joined your first job, so in which department you were in and for how long. So this type of means then 30 years back what happened, so it's hazy, right, in your memory. so you will not be able to get the right answer, right? So try to avoid these recall dependent questions so that it will be not reflecting the real result. So this type of wording you should be avoiding when you will be preparing your questions. Now come to the questions wording. Another point, don't use positive and negative statement. So you need to make sure your all statements or all items that you are using to measure your variables, your sentences are like harmonized. Means suppose don't just go for using like some questions you are like using in positive manner, and some questions you are using statements you are using in negative manner, right? So suppose for example, Dresdner delivers high quality banking service. Dresdner has poor customer operational support, right? Suppose you are just going for what means measuring the service issues, right? So that time, look, you are using like one positive statement, one negative statement. Rather than doing this, you can just simply say that to what extent you will rank the what is that one, the quality of the banking service. To what extent you will be ranking the customer operational support services. So this way you just go for using it rather than just go for one is very like positive and one is very negative. So make sure all your statements are like either in positive manner or in negative manner, but don't go for like this, so which will be conflicting. So just go for making it general one. Okay, then the next one will be length of the question. So this is actually rule of thumb. Try to make your question within 20 words. Means sometimes it's really tough, I know, but this is like you try that your question is not too long. So you should try to make it within 20 words. If not, you can extend it, but this is rule of thumb that it should be within 20 words, and try to make the line in one in full line in print, right? Like in one line means sometimes it's really not possible. Even if you like look at my questions when I have prepared, so it is more than 2 lines. Suppose, for example, right? Yes, suppose this is not full line, right? So this is in full line, full print in line, full means in one line, right? So, but I could not do it like in one line, so I have to use 2 lines. So this is the way. But try to make sure it's very short so that people can easily read it and they can answer it quickly. Okay, any questions so far? Any questions so far?
No problem.
All okay. All right. So then I go for the next one. Okay. Question sequence. Okay. When you will giving the question or you will structure the question, make sure you are starting with easy question and then gradually you go for asking the difficult question. And then also like you start with the general question and then you go for coming with the specific one. So this is actually called as funnel approach. Okay, so this is funnel approach. Usually, sometimes I prefer, this is not like right and wrong, but I prefer you go for asking the questions related to all your variables or construct first, and then you go for using the general question, like your demographic question. So I usually prefer, but some of the researcher you will see that they will start with this demographic question and then they go for asking with those questionnaire for the variables. Better if you can ask, because people will be getting bored actually. Then like some, this is reality. Because I when I collect the data, I know actually people are very like reluctant to participate in the survey as well as to what means like give their answer. So better if you just go for starting with your main question and demographic questions later on. So this is personal and sensitive data at the end. It's also means like theoretically it's also like saying that, or it's like most of the people they are supporting that personal and sensitive data should be asking late means like at the later stage of your questions. Okay, now come to the next stage. That one is cover letter. Cover letter is very, very important for you. It's not that only the questionnaire will prepare, but who are you, why you are asking for participating in the survey. So you need to give some basic information to your respondent first. So cover letter is must. So cover letter is your introductory page of your questionnaire, right? So at the top of your questionnaire, you means if it's like means like hard copy, right? So at the top of the questionnaire you need to attach it. Otherwise the first page, if you go for online survey, then you need at the it's like the first page should be your cover letter, and then you can go for giving your what is that one, questionnaire. Yes, just a minute, raise the hand. Who raised the hand? Can you? Okay, Khalifa binti Kamaruddin.
Hi, Prof. Morning. Prof, I have a question about the previous slide that you are saying.
This one.
The question, can I just do a questionnaire whereby they're just answering by ABC rather than rating? Is it possible? Or I still need to use the rating 1, 2, 3, 4?
I think that one, yes, for this stage to measure the variable, you need to just go for using like, what is that one? Using, what is that one? The response scale. But for like demographic variable, you just need to go for ABC, that what I just showed here. That for the objective variable, you just need to have like ABCD. Suppose this one, hold on, huh? Like this one, ABC. For this objective variable, you just need to have ABCD, multiple choice. Khalifa?
Okay, understood that. How about the question? How about the
questions, right? How you are going to get all these questions, right?
So this question, rather than I put 1 until 7 mark, so can I just give a question and they just answer me ABC?
No, it should not be like this. That's why I'm saying the measurement scale should be like this for the independent dependent variable. If it's statistical, means like statistical and means what is that one? Means what is just like the frequency analysis, then it should be okay, ABCD. But for this case, for this academic research, you need to have this interval point scale. All right, it should ABCD means like means you don't want to like put 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 ABCDEF, right? Something like that.
I know. What I mean is, one question is similar like when we answering a question in exam paper.
Multiple choice question, right?
But that one is not multiple choice lah. I think it one answer that there is a 4 correct answer, but exactly what they are choosing from rather than, because for me when we doing this like 7-point scale, of course they will put strongly agreed or strongly disagreed, because they will sometimes they will put in the middle. So the answer given by the correspondent, maybe it will be not alike, means that not
that's why the interval is here, right, Khalifa? So that's why the interval is here, which is very clearly mentioned that strongly disagree, if even if it's not like in the middle, but it's say like okay less than this, so you just go for like putting the 3, so it will be easier for you to measure rather than using what you are mentioning. Again, sorry, again, Khalifa, you are talking or someone else?
Someone else.
Oh, okay, sorry. So better if you just go for this way. This is the proper way how to measure the variables, rather than if you just go for like ABCD. That's what you are saying. So you will not be able to justify it then properly.
Yeah, noted.
Okay, so you just go for using this way, so that when you will read more, you will understand it. And if you just go for using like the previous studies, how they have done, why they have done, the justifications are there. There you will be understanding it clearly. All right, so better if you just go for like this way using the 5-point Likert scale rather than, so it will be like MCQ type of question, right? What you were mentioning. So it will be later on, will be tough for you to measure it. Okay, so measurement scale should be like this.
Understand, Prof. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then I just go for where I was. Okay. This one, right? Okay, then cover letter is must. So cover letter, what it includes? It actually includes your identification, who you are, right? Then motivation, that why people should participate in your survey. So you need to give some idea to your respondent that means how their responses will contribute to your thesis, right, or in your research work. So you need to give some idea to your respondent. Then confidentiality issue also, you need to mention it in your cover letter, like yes, that whatever information the respondents are giving, so those will be highly confidential and will not be given to the other parties, right? And it will be what means it will be is like, what is that one, the word that it will be 100% will be used only for your this research purpose. Okay, and then lastly you just go for thanking your respondent. So I'm just giving you some example of this, like cover letter, right? So it will be like this. You can also use mine if you want, just to get the idea and just prepare your one. So you just go for what means who you were, introductory, right? I mentioned. So why you if I just go for this one, identification of the researcher and motivation of the respondents, right, to fill it up. So you just go for introducing yourself, then why you are doing this survey, right? So it's for your master's thesis and so on. You introduce yourself from where you are and why you are doing this. And then also I mentioned about the confidentiality, right? And you also need to mention here that yes, your information will be strictly confidential, and for how long it will be stored, right? It will be kept for. And then usually when we do the survey questionnaire, right, so we call it as anonymous, right? Anonymous means you will not be able to trace the respondent. So that's why we usually don't go for like very personal information. Usually we don't go for. Yes. Okay, so usually we just go for anonymous, or anonymous means like anonymous means like that you will not be able to trace the respondents, means which questions have been answered by whom. So this one is like what means advantages for this survey question survey, if you do the survey to collect the data. Whereas like if you do the interview, you will be knowing that who is the respondent and what answers they are giving. So which is like the confidentiality issues, right, will not be able to manage it in the interview method. Whereas if you use the questionnaire survey, so your what this traceability will be not be means will be less, right? Means like zero, not less. It's zero means you will not be able to trace the respondents. Okay, then finally you just need to thanking your respondents to participate in the survey, and you just go for giving your information here. So then usually
Prof,
when we are preparing the question, even if we go for using the English, but if your respondents are not so familiar with English, then you are not good in English, then you need to translate it in your local language to collect the data. Yes, please.
Prof, I would like to ask on if the respondent is to be anonymous, don't you think that the reliability of the response may be jeopardized on that?
So anonymous means their responses will be okay, right? So means they will be responding to, but they will be without biasness, means they will be responding means keeping in mind that yes, whatever responses I'm giving, the true one, and it's not like that I'm getting biased and giving the responses accordingly. So that's why if it's like anonymous, right, so it will be better to get the real information, because people will be having in their mind that yes, they will not be able to trace it's me and this is my answer, so that way. And reliability test, validity test, all will be done during your what is that one, uh, analysis part, right? And if you see that reliability and validity test is not that, the what is that one, the point is not that much, so that time maybe you need to have more respondents to make sure that reliability is there.
Okay, noted, Prof. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. So this cover letter, you can use it as a sample so that you get the idea and prepare your one. All right. So that's all for this, how to collect the data through questionnaire and how to develop the survey questionnaire, right? So then you can ask that, okay, whether these questions, it will be like questions or the items, you are going to write it down by yourself. There is a question, right? So suppose you are going to measure this attitude and you are having these statements. This statement or questions or the items will be written by yourself or how? Yes, most of the cases we don't write it down by ourselves, right? Because we go for using those authors scale or those authors item to measure our variable, right? So we are taking the items or taking the scale from the existing. Can you please mute your mic? Please mute your mic. We can hear you rather than other people hear me. Who is the one?
One.
One. One, can you please make sure your mic is mute? Okay. So these questions, suppose this buying attitude, right? So all these items that I have used to measure my buying attitude for my study, I have not written it by myself. I have actually borrowed all these items from the existing studies. So though some authors, they will be actually, or they have already what means done the research and came up with their measurement scale for the variables. So we usually go for borrowing the existing scale and we borrow the items and we rewrite it or we modify it. Okay, suppose this buying attitude. Suppose this one I have used it from like Moklis. Suppose Moklis 2006. So this author Moklis, he has actually measured, he actually developed a scale to what is that one, to measure the buying attitude. This buying attitude can be for any product. So actually Moklis, he has developed his measurement scale for buying attitude towards what, towards the product, that one is Islamic banking service. I just took all his items, but I just changed, rather than like go for Islamic banking, I just put the Islamic finance. So I have modified it, right? So I have edited it based on what, rather than I put the Islamic finance, Islamic banking products, I just use the overall Islamic financial product. So this way you can just go for borrowing the scale or the items from the existing scale, and you need to just go for rewrite it, edit it, or modify it to what is that one, to measure your variables. So existing scale we are using, and you need to, when you will be like writing the research methodology part, so that time you also need to mention your these variables items have been taken from which author scale. Then your this what is that one, religious commitment has been measured using which author scale, right? Which author's items you have used to measure your religious commitment, which author's items, right? Or the questions or the statements you have used, right? To measure your this variable. So this way you need to make sure all your references are there from which author scale you, or items you have used to measure this variable. Please don't forget to give the references. Otherwise, your examiner, your reviewer will ask, where did you get these items? So you will say, most of the cases, students, what they say, I have done it by myself. So this is totally wrong. If you just go for coming up with your own items to measure your variables, that will be another research. Okay, so we don't have time to develop our own scale to measure the variables. That's why we borrow, or we just go for using the existing scale which have been done or had been done by other authors, other researchers, and we just use it for our case. Making sense or not?
Yes, Prof.
Yes, Prof.
Okay, very good. Then I just go for which one? Okay, I move to the sample then. Sampling. So still we have time. Still have time. Okay, so I go to, okay, sampling. Sampling, very easy. Very don't make your life complicated. So when we go for determining the sample, how we should determine it, right? So first of all, when you will be calculating your sample size, you first need to know the population size of your study. I think last classes I have mentioned about this, is when we have gone through, what is that one? I can't remember. Which class? I remember. Hold on. Huh? Okay, or one shot study, right? Means like how means different, using different sample at different point of time when we just go for collecting the data. I think in that last class I have gone through this one. Okay, anyway, I just go for again how to determine the sample size. So you need to mention first identify what is your population size, and when population size is already you will be finding, so it will be easier for you to calculate the sample size. Usually there are two types of sampling: probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling we do it when the population size is known. That some student you will find that how to, oh, I am not getting the population size. So usually if you just go for governmental statistical report and industry report or company report, anything from there you can easily get the population size or the respondents from where you are going to get who is your or the context what you are using. So based on that you need to come up with your population. Okay, then probability sampling when you will be doing when population is known, and non-probability sampling you will be doing when your population is unknown. But most of the cases try to make sure your population is known. It's easy, I know. If you put bit effort, then you will be easily find out what will be your population size. Okay, probability sampling is that randomly you are going to select your respondents so that your respondents will be representing your whole population. But non-probability sampling, non-randomly, when you will be like selecting the respondents to collect the data, and usually we do it when your population again is unknown, right? If you are going to doing the survey on online shoppers, right? And online shoppers, how many online shoppers are there? You are not knowing that, right? That particular is like exact number, you are not finding it. So that time you just go for non-randomly selecting the respondents or the online shoppers, and you are collecting the data. So that time it will be non-probability sampling. But try to make sure you are using the probability sampling. I'm just saying, means more, so it will be much more stronger for you, right? So that if you go for using probability sampling, your representative sample will be there, and your result will be, your result can be generalized for all your population. So try to make sure that you are using probability sampling. But if you don't have option, then just go for using the non-probability option. Then you can ask me how to calculate the sample size. So once your population size is means like already known, then just go for using that. We have like two formulas by Taro-Yemen and Kersey-Morgan. So Kersey-Morgan, I just go for giving you this one. Just a minute. Kersey-Morgan, 1970. Kersey-Morgan, okay. So this one. Also, you can use this either this reference or Taro-Yemen, okay, or this one. So sample size determination, either you just go for using this Kersey-Morgan 1970, or your this one, the Taro-Yemen one. Taro-Yemen table one, sorry, Taro-Yemen this one, right? So either these two authors or these two studies references you can use to determine or to justify your sample size. Right here, like it's like called, look, your sample size, 5%, 7%, 10% precision level, where confidence level is 95%, where P is like, this P is like where is plus minus 5%, right? This confidence level is the statistical statistics which describe the probability. Probability means if you just go for using the confidence level, right? 5 means you are 95% means like confident that 95 out of 100 times the estimate will fall between upper and lower values. So this one, just like in simple way, I just go for like giving you the idea that suppose your population size is 100, right? So you identify, suppose if you are just going for doing a research on your company and only 100 employees are there, right? So you can just go for using like, okay, I'm going to, if I just like using 5% confidence level means 95% means plus minus interval 5% interval levels, then means you want 95% confident that if you just go for using 81 respondents, then 95% like plus minus what values will be like you are going to use. Like this one is like what is that one? We are using this interval just for using the getting the population mean or to estimate the variation among the group. So you just go for finding out, sorry, mosquito sat there. So like 95% confidence level, you just go for using 81 will be your sample size. But even if you just see like 81, like it's very tough for you to get it. So then just go for using that 97%, sorry, 93% confidence level, that you just go for using 67 sample size. Even if you are not able to getting like 67, just go for using 10% interval levels, that is 90% confidence level, that 51 will be your sample size to determine your population mean and to justify your result. So if your population, if you find that it's 100, either go for using 81, 67 and 51 based on your interval levels. Now even if you just go for like seeing that your population is more than 100,000, right? Then if you just go for using like 3% confidence level, 5%, 7%, and sorry, not 3% confidence level, 97% confidence level, 95% confidence level, 93% confidence level, 90% confidence level, right? So just based on these 3%, it's too much, right? 1111, then 95% confidence level, it will be 400. Still 400 will be too many for you, right? Yeah. Even if I just go for a 93% confidence level, 2004 should be fine. Even if you are not getting to 204, then just go for using the justification with 10% in the interval levels or 90% confidence level. I'm going to determine 100 sample size based on Taro Yemen or based on Cressy Morgan 1970 Taro Yemen year I can't remember at this moment. Oh, sorry, 1967, right? Taro Yemen and Cressy Morgan is 1970. You just go for using any table. Just go for. You don't need to use your formula. Otherwise, you will be like, what is that one? So many formulas are there. You don't need nowadays. Things are very simple. Just go for using this reference. Use the table easily. What is your population size? And based on your population size, what will be your sample size? That's it. But need to make sure you were mentioning the references. Otherwise, you just can't simply say that, yes, I'm going to use 100 or I'm going to use 250 and so on. But make sure again that you are having your references. Okay, now come to the point. Okay, so data analysis tool. So when you will be presenting your proposal, right, as well as you were writing your research methodology chapter, this statistical tool at this moment, you don't need to say so many things about your statistical tool, but at least you need to mention which particular data analysis tool you are going to use to analyze your data. Either you can go for using SPSS. Don't use Excel. Excel usually we just go for record all the information from the respondents to Excel, and then from Excel we are going to transfer it to the SPSS sheet. SPSS, what is that one? Document, and then we just go for simply running it. Okay, SPSS is the very basic tool to do the analysis. So most of you better, if you are like the beginner, you just go for using the SPSS to use as your data analytical tool to analyze your data. So SPSS is the very basic one, but rather than SPSS, if you'd like to go for using a bit advanced software to analyze your data, so you can use structural equation modeling, that is called ACM. So in order to do the ACM, you can use either AMOS or PLS. So these are two most like used software, bit advanced level, AMOS and PLS. Some people they like means like go for like what is that one? Means giving the advantages of AMOS or giving the advantages of PLS, but almost same thing. It depends. It depends on their company, say which technique they would like to technical tool statistical tool they are going to use for their particular study. But for most of your case, at least you need to mention that you are going to use SPSS to analyze your data. So this is the one. And for these SPSS, I think you need to um, um, learn it. You need to learn it by yourself. Just go for very basic what is that one steps you just need to follow, but need to make sure SPSS is there. Okay, if you'd like to get the SPSS, you can contact the library, or if you want to come to use SPSS physically, our main campus, we are having this SPSS software in our computer lab. If you want to use it, you can use it from our campus, or you can just ask the help from the library. All right. So what I mentioned. Okay. So just make sure that you are not like leaving blank this data analysis tool during your presentation or when you are writing your proposal in methodology part. You need to mention which particular software you are going to use to analyze your data. Okay. I think what else? What else is there? I think that's it from my side for today's lecture. Any